My journey continues. This is game 5 in the 5th seed of my team. And before I get started, let me talk about my career. Let me give you an update. A lot of people want to know, when am I going to stream the next round? That's probably going to be this weekend, either Saturday or Sunday. So be on the lookout. I should have an update video on Friday announcing my stream. I wanted to stream the conference finals this weekend that just passed, but I didn't fix the problem I was having at the last stream that messed up the quality on YouTube. So if you notice, games 5, 6, and 7 against the Lakers, the quality wasn't really up to par. Sometimes it was the frame rate. Sometimes the audio was out of sync. Sometimes it was Lob City. LeBron slamming it down with the left hand. So the reason why the quality wasn't up to par on those last 3 games is because I wasn't able to record it the way I normally do, because my capture device decided not to work when I was live streaming. And look at that fade by Hakeem, and Wilt Chamberlain cleans up that mess. I've seen all the comments, people saying, come on, Smooth, the frame rate, out of sync, this and that. But I guess you didn't read the description. But anyway, since I'm playing against this guy and he doesn't have any gold players, I figured, I guess I'll talk about something else in the commentary. And there's actually something kind of interesting. Brittney Griner. Do you know who that is? That's a women's NBA player. She's a rookie. She just had her debut game. And it's funny because her team lost. They lost. They got beasted and feasted on. They got blown out, but she dunked the ball twice in the women's NBA in one game. So that was the headline, and that was the story. And I have something that relates to that. But first, I want to talk about Brittney Griner. Her dunks are like Yao Ming's dunks. She has no vertical. Brittney Griner has like a 10-inch vertical. She has like a 5-inch vertical. I saw a clip of her dunking from almost the half-court line, and her feet got off the ground like as if you just raised, like, let's say you just raised your feet off the ground. That's how high her feet got off the ground on that dunk. And then if you remember, this is the same woman that Mark Cuban, you know, the owner of the Mavericks. Remember a few months ago, Mark Cuban said that he would draft her. Oh, look at that cheese. Look at that cheese, a 3 from behind the half-court line. I gotta go into replay mode. See, the first quarter I thought was mine. I thought I did a good job in the first quarter, and then look at that momentum shifter right there, that shot clock cheese. So watch how the momentum in this game changes. But let me get back to this. Remember, Mark Cuban was joking in the press, or maybe he wasn't joking. Who knows? Maybe he was just crying for attention. But he said that he would draft Brittney Griner, not in the first round, but in the second round of the NBA draft. He would draft her, and she would be the first woman player in the NBA. Remember, that stirred up a lot of controversy, and then people were discussing whether or not a woman could play in the NBA. And it's an interesting debate. I don't think they could play in the NBA. I don't think physically they could do it, because if you look at Brittney Griner, I mean, imagine her playing against the power forwards and the centers and the small forwards in the NBA. She would get beasted and feasted on. And the game is just not the same. And I'm not trying to say that in a sexist way, but, you know, I played basketball in middle school, high school, and if you play basketball in middle school and high school, you know that the women don't play anything like the men, because the women, they always play first. So it's the girls, the junior varsity, then the varsity, then it's the junior varsity boys, and then the varsity boys. And when you go from that switch to the first 2 hours or so where it's the women playing, and then you see the junior varsity boys play, the game is automatically, it's so much faster, so much more physical than even the varsity girls. It's like a totally different game. And I know that if you're in middle school or high school, you know exactly what I'm talking about if you've ever gone to one of those games or to a game at your school, your high school, your middle school, whatever. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not a sexist thing to say. It's just proof. That's just the proof. That's just reality. But the reason I even wanted to talk about this is because recently I've been, and look at that play right there. That was just beautiful passing. And then I finished with a lob, even though it was a layup. But recently, for the last like 3 or 4 months, I've been going to LA Fitness. Been playing basketball, been working out as well. And at my LA Fitness, there's actually a lot of girls that will play basketball. They'll be there in the gym playing basketball. They'll get picked. They'll play half-court games, full-court games. You know, they actually play. They're not just there for attention. They're actually playing basketball. And just recently, actually last week, I played with a girl. She was on my team, and I thought I would share this story because it was pretty funny. So it was time for me to go. Or not quite. I was at the end of my basketball session there at LA Fitness. I was playing for about an hour or two. Played a lot of full court games, but people, they went to go work out. People went home, so there weren't as many people left over. So with the remaining people, everyone just kind of spread out, and it was more of a half-court setting. And on my side of the court, we only had 5 players. We wanted to get a 3-on-3 or maybe even a 4-on-4. On the other side of the court, there were 3 players. So we did what anybody would do. We said, hey, y'all want to run a 3-on-3 or a 4-on-4? And 2 of the players were like, nah. I guess they were just there to shoot around. And then the other player was a girl. And she was like, okay, I'll play. Now, my first impression of this girl was that maybe she can play because she kind of looked like she played basketball. I'll give a quick little physical description, not to get stereotypical or anything, but just because I know a lot of people in the comments are probably going to ask. So she was a white girl. She was about 5'7". She had blonde hair, and she just looked like she played basketball, like the kind of clothes she was wearing, her calf muscles. She wasn't overweight. She wasn't skinny. She was just kind of in the middle, but just the way that she walked and stuff, she just looked like she played basketball before. She actually ends up being on my team. So it's me and her and this other guy. So we're looking at the other team and we're like, who we're going to guard. So, of course, you know, I guard like the tallest guy or the guy that I think is going to be the most trouble. The other guy guards somebody else. And then the girl, she's left to guard this guy that only shoots because I know this guy. I've been going there for weeks and all that guy can do is shoot a 3. He can't do anything else. So I figured she's best to just stay on that guy. In our first game, we actually ended up losing pretty bad. The score was something like 16-6 or something like that. And whose fault was it? I don't really know if it was anybody's fault. It turned out that the guy that I was guarding, I thought that he was going to be doing stuff and he didn't do anything. He was just kind of a decoy. And then there was this other guy. He kept taking the other guy on my team off the dribble to the rim for layups. So the girl on our team, she was the closest one. So what she was doing was trying to provide help defense in the lane. And then he'd kick it out to that guy. And remember I said the guy that she was guarding, all he can do was shoot 3s. So yeah, he ended up making like so many 3s. And that's why we lost so bad, because when they had the ball, they would score like 5 times in a row before they'd miss. And then we'd get the ball. So we lost the first game. So we're like, all right, we're just going to run it back, see if we can get our revenge. And I switched the matchup. I guard the guy that was going to the rim every time in the first game. So now in this game, he's not able to go to the rim and do his thing. And we actually get off to a good start. I score like 3 mid-range jumpers. I score on a layup. So we're up 4-0. And I'm checking the ball and I'm passing it around. And I noticed that we didn't really give the girl any touches yet in the second game. She didn't really touch the ball. So I passed the ball to her. And this is where it just all happened. So on her first possession in the second game, she takes a few dribbles from the 3-point line, steps into mid-range, and she banks it. She banks it off the glass from mid-range like Tim Duncan. So now we have 5 points. So we check the ball up. I give the ball to her again. Guess what? She does the same move, banks it off the glass again. So then we check the ball, and she does that 2 more times. So now she scored 4 straight times in a row by banking it off the glass on the right side of the court, mid-range. So then on the 5th try, I'm like, is she on fire? I give it to her the 5th time, and then she takes her guy off the dribble and makes a left-handed layup in the paint. And she's right-handed, and she's doing all these moves. I couldn't believe it. So we kept giving her the ball, and she never missed. We won the game 16-0. I couldn't believe my eyes. She was dominating. She was cheesing. And the guy that was guarding her, his face was priceless. He was like, what am I supposed to do? It's a girl. Do I play physical? Do I try? He didn't know what to do. So we're like, all right, let's run it back. Because they won the first game. We won the second game. So this game is going to determine who's better. So in this third and final game of the series, we didn't win 16-0, but we still won big. We won like 16-7. And the girl was dominating. She was making the mid-range, off the glass, the bank shots. She was making the left-handed layups, the right-handed layups. She even made a couple of threes. She just came alive. She really did. And it was funny because in this third game, they didn't want to lose again. So they were playing physical. They were trying everything they could. We were setting screens for her. It was hilarious. And her face, this girl's face, she was just smiling. She was having a good time. And it was almost like she was shy in the first game. It was like in the first game, she didn't really know if she could play with us or what. But then after that first game, she just got in a comfort zone. She was doing all kind of moves that I didn't know that she was going to be able to do. And it was just funny. And I thought of this when I saw the news with Brittney Griner getting 2 dunks. And I was like, you know, I just recently played with a girl on the court, so I might as well tell this story. Here's another good game in my team. Jerry West with 16 points. He's all of a sudden, he's my best player. 2 games in a row, he's having an amazing impact on the game. So let me know what you think about girls playing with guys. Do you think there will ever be a woman player in the NBA one day? And let me know if you've ever played basketball with a girl and if she was able to do good or bad. You know, would you play physical? You know, what if you get a sexual harassment charge for tapping her booty or her chest? Splash.